Yes. All right. If you guys watched my other stream, my heat press broke, but I gotta get these orders out, so I gotta fix it. So I gotta show you guys what it looks like. This is what I did to fix it. This is temporary for now. It doesn't look very safe, but you do what you gotta do, guys. Do what you gotta do to fix it. I ordered new parts. Ordered new parts. They're coming, but until the parts come, that's my fix. I'm telling you, in life, you have options. You can always fix anything you want. Oh, hey Jay. I don't know if you were here earlier, but were you here earlier when my machine broke? Anyways, it broke and I had to go offline, and then I fixed it. I'm gonna show you guys again. I just rewired it basically, and it's held together with some duct tape. So we'll see. I ordered new parts, but it's not coming for another like. Oh, you're here for the egg trip. You didn't come. You weren't here for the part. But yeah, so it broke, and whoever made this machine, right? I have to say, this is the heat press. This is one of the more pricey heat presses that you can get on the market. It's like 2,000 or something, right? Whoever made this thing, they didn't. I guess their wires aren't the right grade, and it gets too hot. And basically, what happened is the wires were melting that switch that I showed earlier, and it's melting, 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 right? And it eventually melted its way through the plastic and just fell apart. And I guess over time the plastic part got really weak, and when I tried to turn on the machine, it just broke. It broke. So I rewired it, and it's working now. But yes, all right. Pressing stuff. I have 20 minutes or so, so I'm gonna hurry up and get things done. Oh, hello, hello, Bailey. Hello, hello. Let's see. Try to get things done as fast as possible. What do we have? What do we have? We got hoodies. We have hoodies, and we have looks like a shirt order, and we have some onesies too. That's what we're doing while the machine's heating up. All right, so what is going on, everybody? What was I talking about last time? I was talking about, someone asked me about Zelensky. I don't know if we really want to talk about Zelensky anymore. I think it's done. It's over, guys. We gotta move on. Moving on. Greetings from Germany. Hello there. How do you say it? Guten Tag? I have no idea. As I've mentioned a gajillion times, I'm terrible with languages. Some people are really good with languages. I'm not one of those people. I just can't. Impossible. What is good in the world right now? What is good in the world? Germany. What do I know? What do we know about Germany? I know you guys have the Autobahn. Just drive really fast down there. Right. Guten Morgen. Okay. I was close. I knew it was Guten something. Alright, so this person ordered some onesies. I guess the name is Charlotte and Selby, you know. And you know what's interesting, right? I made this design a while back for twins, right? And are there more twins now than ever? Because I'm getting a lot of orders for this onesie. Oh, interesting. Okay, guten Tag means bye. So guten Morgen maybe means hello. If you didn't know that before, now you don't. Now you do. And I'm getting a lot of orders for like twin stuff. Are you seeing more twins, or is that like a side effect of? Is that a side effect of all the IVF stuff? Because you know when you do IVF, you can get twins. That's interesting. I thought. What is going on with everybody? You can join me right now. Guten Morgen means good morning. Oh, okay. You know what's crazy, right? You're gonna teach me this right now. In like 20 minutes, I'm gonna forget all about it. I'm so bad with any of the languages. But I gotta wait for the machine to heat up right now. So I'm gonna show you guys again. I have to rewire this. That was crazy. I can't believe it just snapped broke. So it needs to get to 360. This is my rewiring I had to do. It earlier it just like you see right here it broke. It just when I pressed it, it snapped and then it stopped working. So I'm glad that I'm telling you, okay? We live in the information age. Any skill that you need to know or want to learn, just learn it. Just do it. Like you think about it, right? People go to school for hours and hours, right, to learn like to be an electrician. If you really think about it, it's just a bunch of wires, and just make sure you don't shock yourself, right? So literally, that's what it is. It's just a bunch of wires that go somewhere. It's not that hard. I mean, a while back, right? I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Maybe it's not the last time you guys have ever been to a mall, but a while back, I went to China because I someone came up with this idea, or they thought it was a good idea to do five. It's like a 5D ride experience. You sit in a chair and you have 3D glasses on, so you're watching something and it's 3D, and then the chair moves with you, and then it's got like stuff that happens, like if the soccer ball comes out, there's someone's gonna throw a soccer ball at you, right? This was an idea that was out back then, and this was like I want to say 15 years ago. Okay, and I went over to China because this was a they didn't have this in the United States yet. This was not a concept that was in the United States, but in China it was a big deal. They had it already, and so I went over to learn about it. And then my issue that I had was if this thing broke down, if I'm operating it and it breaks down, who's gonna IT this thing? Like who's gonna fix it? And so they're like, oh, that's a good point. We will train you to fix it. And I'm like, I don't know anything about like electricity or anything, right? And they're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. You you're gonna spend a whole week inside our factory, right? And you're gonna learn how how this thing is made. So if it breaks, if any part breaks, you know how to put it back together. So I spent the whole week in a Chinese factory learning how to put this machine together. And it's basically all it was a bunch of it's a chair, a bunch of chairs, a bunch of sensors, uh it's a bunch of chairs, it's a bunch of sensors, and a bunch of hydraulics. That's literally what it was, because it's a chair that moves. It's a movie theater chair that moves around, basically. And then there's like a fog machine and all these other things, like a sound system. So I learned all that. And what I came to realize is that all the factory workers didn't know anything about electricity either. They just know how to put the parts together. And that kind of stuck with me, because when you look at other things, realistically, everything else is also just stuff put together And if you know how to take it apart, you can put it back together. And that's the same idea that they had. And yeah, so anything that breaks down, you just take it apart and you're like, look inside and you're like, oh, it's this wire that goes to this wire. And you just replace those wires. And boom, fix. Where was I going with this? If there's anything that you want to learn how to do, just do it. There's AI now, there's YouTube. You can learn anything you want to learn, you know? Okay, ever has it been that love knows not its own death, but until the hour of its separation? Okay, that is true. I agree with that. That you kind of grow into like a pattern, right? Where you get used to things. And this happens with a lot of relationships, especially. That you kind of, in a way, you kind of like know that that person's there. And you kind of take them for granted until they're not there anymore. So I agree with that. Kind of just appreciate, uh, if you're with a partner, appreciate them. Because I'll tell you what, if you have to go back into the market and find another partner, it's harder every time. Every time, it's harder. You're older, you have a little bit less money. It's just harder. Okay, appreciate. Unless it's not the person for you, then move on. What's my favorite food? Right now I am into. I think steak is always. That's a good baseline food for me. I always like a good steak. If but like if you're in a restaurant and you see a menu of stuff, right, and you have to choose one, I want to say I am a sucker for like a good. I'm trying to say, like a good like gumbo ish kind of dish. I'm a sucker for that. Like a soupy, like a little bit spicy, seafood ish dish. Mm. Like that's what I'm a sucker for. But steak can't go wrong every time. Can't go wrong with steak. That reminds me of my kid. Um, the other day, I asked my kid like, "Hey, what do you want to do for your birthday?" And the kid was like, "I want to go to a steakhouse." I was like, "No, no, we're not doing that." Else is going on in the world? I don't want to talk about the trade war anymore. I feel like it's been beaten to death. The Ukraine stuff has been beaten to death too. Yes, steak is always good. And okay, you know what bugs me though is if you go to the grocery store, right? Steak is not that expensive. You really think about it. But you go to a restaurant and steak is super expensive. And the difference between you cooking it at home and you going to the restaurant and them cooking it is not that big. So save yourself. Especially right now, I'm telling you, just save yourself. Another tip that I always say, how you feel about gangs started the. Is that a real thing that they started the fires? Gangs? Really? I didn't hear about that. But if that's real, what do they have to gain? Because anytime I think about any crime or any of these things, like there has to be a motive. Now, I'm not saying if it was me, if I was if I was gonna do that, I would have totally done. Okay, that's how I was gonna go. Okay, if it was me, and like I said, I always like to put myself in another person's shoe, and then kind of like think, like pretend you're that person. What do you have to gain, right? So if it was me, and I started a fire like that, what would you do? Like, I think, would you try to get a bank? Would that work? Can you think you could do like an Ocean's 11 kind of like heist where you start a fire on one side of the city and then you and your boys go to the other side, and oh, it kind of reminds me of like Die Hard. Like remember Die Hard, the second one, right? He did all those they did all those like attacks all over the city to kind of like lure the police to one side so they can get into like the Fort Knox, the reserve or whatever. Like, yeah, but that requires so much planning. Like, a lot of stuff got burned, and they could sell regular stuff for a lot. But like this, that comment reminds me of. Do you remember the beginning of the pandemic? There was like people that were selling hand sanitizer from the trunk of their car. Uh, that reminds me of that. I mean, it could work, but how it doesn't seem worth it because so many it's so unpredictable, so many houses, whatever, just for you to sell supplies. But okay, back to the hand sanitizer thing. I have a buddy, right? And he it has a master in chemistry. And I remember him telling me that during the pandemic, because I didn't know him during the pandemic, I met him afterwards. Uh, he formulated his own hand sanitizer and in his garage, right? He was one of those people, and he would go around the town selling gallons of hand sanitizer that he made in his garage. I thought that was pretty funny. That yeah, I thought that was super funny. But like, okay, if I was to start a fire like that, um, greetings from North Korea. Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. You wish that the North Koreans could watch me. If I feel like if the North Koreans could get me, I can brainwash a whole bunch of them to do something at least. um, yeah, if that was me, if you're saying if that's a real scenario that the gangsters started the fires in California to loot, I would totally. It would be in the news more. I'll tell you that because I would totally have started it here, and then you have like a bank or like a few Chase banks or whatever on another side, and you just wait for them to evacuate, and you go in, and you go boom, 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 and you just like it's Google Map. You look at the map, and you're like, hey, these banks are on this street. You start it here. It's gonna go. They're gonna evacuate, and we'll just be waiting. We'll go in there. Oh, but no, there it's in a vault. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Scrap it. Scrap it. Because they're gonna lock the vault. Unless if you're gonna go real Ocean's 11 about it, unless you get a you on the way out, you grab one of the managers. Okay, do you think cooking is for poor people? No, I do not. I know I do not. I do not think is that a thing? Is that a real thing? That like oh my god. Sorry, I dropped something. You, cooking is for poor people? Impossible. Here's the thing, okay? I don't care how rich you are. I know people that are in the multi-million dollar range. I know one person that has a B, right? Even the person that has a B cooks. It's impossible. Um, and even you're in the multi-million dollar range. Think about it this way, okay? You got there um, by being some sort of savvy. There's some savviness to you that you got there, and I'm pretty sure that you try to maintain. If you keep that lifestyle of like private chefs and going out to restaurants, whatever, you're gonna get drained so fast, and your health is gonna go down. It doesn't matter how much money you got, you cannot buy health back. And the thing that what do we everyone always says about eating out, the food is so salty. The food is they put so much butter in the food or whatever. You keep eating out, your health is gonna go down. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Health is king, right? We all gonna end up in the dirt at some point. If you're already in the upper bracket, wouldn't you want to live longer to enjoy your life? Right? So learn to cook. Put a little bit less salt in your food. Maybe use a little bit less butter, and you'll live longer. If you're already in that range that you have the multi like millions or whatever, don't you want to stretch it out as long as possible? Right? So that's my thought on that. If anyone's telling you that they're too good to cook, see what they where their life is when they get into their 80s, if they make it that far. You know, that is really what it is. Never think you're too good. Okay, here's another thing then. I guess it got me thinking. Never think you're too good to do anything yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're always with yourself. Like, cut your own grass. Like, have that inside you. Because even to get to the multi-million dollar range, there's a lot of hard work in there. There's no shortcut to doing that. Absolutely, there's no shortcut. There are shortcuts, but they're all short-lived. So, let's see what else. Do I practice any kung fu? A few years ago, I took a Krav Maga class. That's basically it. I took a few Krav Maga classes because they say that Israeli Krav Maga is the best. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn that. That's basically it. And most of that kung fu stuff doesn't work anyway, so. Yeah, that's right. Treat yourself, treat yourself. All right. I have to go for now. Today, I don't know why, my kid's school is a short day. I'm glad. What's my favorite movie? All right, maybe I'll just take you guys to come with me. What time is it? Sorry. Yeah, I gotta go. Gotta go. I'll take you guys with me. We could drive together. What's my favorite movie? Oh, I'm trying to think. Favorite movie, I have to say, I think I'm a sucker for Face Off right now. Or no, actually, no. I want to say Pulp Fiction. That's my favorite movie. Pulp Fiction. I feel like it has the best up and down arc. All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Let's see. What I'm trying to think the movies that okay, I don't think you could possibly have a favorite movie. I want to say it's you should rephrase the question that the movies that shaped your life. I think that makes more sense. Hello. If you missed it earlier, someone asked me what's my favorite movie. And I feel like Pulp Fiction is definitely one of my favorite movies. Let me think, what is because I feel like it should be the movies that really shaped you. And I feel like Pulp Fiction really shaped me a lot because I watched it when I was little, when it came out. And yeah, as I said many times, I'm in the generation that just grew up on TV. So I watched that when I was little, and it kind of shaped my life a lot. I'm trying to remember what age, but how it shaped me was it made me think about kind of a different, like a mindset that I have now, where everyone thinks that they're the good guy. Rio. Ooh, Rio's good. Like everyone thinks they're the main character. Everyone thinks they're the good guy, and it's about getting another person's perspective on things. Because if you watch Pulp Fiction, is the thing about Pulp Fiction is that everyone's living their life and they all have their separate things going on, and no one ever really thinks about that a lot. That everyone's so thinks about themselves all the time. You know, like you're the main character. You're the main character. Me, 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 me. But there's another person. They're living their life. They're going through their own things. And yeah, that's what I remember about what my thoughts were when I watched Pulp Fiction. That everyone has their own life, and maybe you need to see the other person's perspective. You know? And that's kind of what I do a lot of times when I'm watching something. Let's say, for example, like let's just take Trump for example, right? You gotta sometimes people are like, oh, he's crazy or whatever, but if you put yourself into his shoes, sometimes you can see it's good, bad, or whatever. You kind of see where he's going. Like when he says crazy things, I see where, because I do that a lot. He calls it the weave, where he starts an idea, and as he's talking about that idea, he kind of starts thinking about something else, and he starts talking about that other thing, and then he realizes that he's talking about another thing, and he needs to bring it back to where he starts. Oh, Reservoir Dogs. Oh, that's a good one too. That's a really good one. I've watched that one a gajillion times. Reservoir Dogs was the gem. Since we're talking about these old movies, you got me thinking about how they keep remaking movies now. And it's so terrible. Another movie that I really liked was Starship Troopers. When I was a kid, I really liked it. And I saw that they're remaking it. And I was like, no! Don't remake it. The reason why I like Starship Troopers is because I watched it when I was in middle school. And I remember I had a huge crush on Denise Richards. She was in the movie. And you got to see her naked. And that's the stuff that you just don't forget, you know? You get to see your crush. Ooh, Scarface. Oh, I love Scarface. And you know what I was thinking about Scarface? Okay. The trade war reminds me of Scarface. If you remember the scene where Tony Montana, he gets the Colombian cartel, they start to like big boss him, and he's like, you don't talk to me like that. You want to go to war? We'll go to war. We'll go to war. And that reminds me of what Trump's going through right now, where people are disrespecting him, or maybe they're not talking to him correctly, or something's going on. And he's like, you want to go to war? We'll go to war. Let's go to war. We'll go to war. Trade war, guys. Because like none of this makes any sense. The whole tariff thing, none of it makes any sense, because people keep asking like Trump, like, what are you trying to gain by this? Like, what is it that you want? Tell us what you want and we'll give it to you. Just stop this. And he's like, I don't know what I want. I just want to go to war. Let's see. What else? Have you ever watched 1954 Godzilla? Is that the newer one? If that's the newer one, I watched it. The newest one, if that's what you're talking about. I watched that one. I never got into Godzilla because I hated even as a kid, I don't like it when they do that fighting with the fake cardboard, like, you know, like you could tell that it's people and it's like cardboard boxes and they're throwing them at each other. I didn't like that. I didn't like it when they did it in Power Rangers. If you guys remember Power Rangers, they did that where they like blow up they get the people big and they make like small cities, and they have them fight each other in the small city. No, it just doesn't look good. So I didn't like the old Godzilla. Let's see. His family was extra in Godzilla. But which one? Which one? Which one? His Are you talking about Trump's family was in Godzilla? What? Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe I have to see the picture. But when I hear Year of the Dragon, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about Bloodsport. The Kumite. That's another movie that I feel like really shaped my childhood. It's about the triads. Oh, I love that kind of stuff. But they don't make movies like that anymore. Okay, if they're remaking movies, why don't they remake Bloodsport? That's a great movie to remake. The Kumite. Who cannot get behind the Kumite? Like, they're remaking movies, like, might as well remake like classics like that. Kumite. Oh, now I'm thinking about all the Van Damme movies. Kumite, the Bloodsport, Kickboxer. Yeah, those are awesome. Like, we need more of that. Okay, all right. I am at my kid's school, and I gotta go get the kid. So I will be back later. I still gotta finish pressing the shirt. So if you guys come back, you guys can enjoy more random talk. I'm trying to stream all day, but some parts I gotta cut and go. It's too hard. I don't want to look like a crazy person that's holding my phone streaming while picking up my kid. Insane. All right, see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.